Hello, everybody. It's Marcy from wavesofcommunication.com, and I'm here with another video for you where today I am going to be going through a 5-step process to help you find your child's superpowers step by step. Hello, everybody. It's Marcy from wavesofcommunication.com. The information in this show is designed to equip and empower parents to take action today. Parents are advised to never give away your power as your child's language facilitator to any therapist, teacher, consultant, or even to a specific method or strategy. Most importantly, the strategies and advice provided here are general and not intended to replace personalized consultation. If you want individual coaching and advice, you should visit wavesofcommunication.com to learn how to work with me as a client. So if this is the first time you're joining me, welcome. And those of you who have been following me for a while, welcome back to another video. This strategies video is very, very important because superpowers can either make or break your process as you're trying to teach your child. Now, I got the idea for this video. I got to give a shout out to my friend Angela and Ben Blanchett. Hi out there. Ben has a page called Maybe Autism is My Superpower. He is a 14-year-old boy with autism who wrote a book called Maybe Autism is My Superpower. And the whole premise of his book came about from a writing prompt that he had seen a movie that was about superpowers, and he decided that autism is a superpower. But what Angela realized as she got into the book and writing this book with him, every child has superpowers. That's why they love super movies, about superheroes and stuff. And so it's really, really important to know what your child's superpowers are. Every child has them. And you can use them to help you with teaching your child anything. If you're looking at, everybody at this stage is looking at some form of distance learning. If your child is going 5 days a week to school, it might be starting late, you might be doing telesessions, things like that. You need to find ways to teach your kiddo at home, and using their superpowers is a way that will allow you to never run out of ideas to teach your child. So that's what's so great about this. Now, what I want to talk about is what are superpowers? Abilities, skills, abilities, superpowers are abilities that, are accessed when the child feels regulated, okay? So everybody's got to be feeling good to access your superheroes, your superpowers, all right? There are also these abilities that the child either started doing on their own without you teaching them at all. They learned somehow. You don't even know how they learned these abilities. And they also, or they learned this skill immediately when you first showed them. Like you just showed them one time and they learned super fast. That's how you know what we're talking about here with these superpowers. They are abilities your child naturally can do, and they learn to do either super fast or on their own without even you teaching them at all, okay? Now, the other thing that is true about superpowers is that the child has improved in their ability to do their superpower without any more coaching, with or without, but especially without. Like, they will try to improve this skill on their own. You see them practicing it by themselves, okay? That's how you know it's a superpower, because kids are invested in their superpowers and they will keep trying to learn and improve them. So if you see your child doing something that they are trying at themselves, that's what we're talking about here, superpowers, all right? So the other thing is that they will show with their superpowers obsession. They'll show obsession with the activity itself in their practice, or they'll show obsession with the materials they need to do that project. So their ability to hone it, to learn it, and to practice it, they will be obsessed with it. So let's say we're talking about an athlete, okay? And their superpowers are their athletic skill, right? That person is the best when they're in the zone, when they're working in their zone. They learn to do it. It came very naturally to them, their athletic skill. And they get obsessed with it, like just doing it over and over and practicing it, but they also get obsessed with the materials. So they might really like different footballs. They might collect footballs or football shoes or football clothes. So you have to know that they can be quite obsessive about these behaviors here, because superpowers can be used for good, or they can really cause problems because of these obsessions, right? So obsessive behaviors that your child wants to do over and over, things your child wants to do over and over and over, they can be helpful when they are empowered through coaching, right? To be used, these abilities that your child has, you can coach them to use these abilities to overcome the challenges that they have in life and build functional skills out of these obsessions. That's what we're hoping to do with these superpowers. So if your kid likes football, hopefully talking about football is going to help them learn to talk. So it's going to help them use their obsession to build a new skill. That's a positive way to use it. Now, obsessive behaviors can also be harmful when they are either suppressed, when you stop them from doing it, because they're just going to be anxious because they want to do it over and over again. And if your child is anxious, they're not going to be able to learn. Or they can also produce problems if obsessive behaviors are left unchecked without social boundaries, without appropriate boundaries. So if your child likes to collect footballs and you let them have 500 footballs, right? There have to be boundaries and coaching to be able to use these so that they don't cause problems in these obsessions, right? And kids who are left to their own management of their superpowers, right? If they're not coached or guided to use them properly for good things that they can learn from, then kids will potentially slip into self-management. And what they'll do is they'll use their superpowers as an escape mechanism to avoid doing anything challenging, overcoming their late talking, or learning to do any kind of academics, because they'll get so obsessed and in their own world in these obsessive behaviors that it blocks their learning. So it's really important for parents to know what your child's superpowers are so that you can guide them towards doing positive things, learning positive things, and developing new skills, right? New functional skills. So that's what we're going to get into right now, is this 5-step process that I have for helping you not only identify what your child's superpowers are, but also how to use those superpowers to facilitate the functional improvement that you're looking for in your child, okay? So, and what we're going to do is we're going to find, this whole process is going to help you find and coach you, because remember, superpowers are helpful when they're coached in the right way, and you want to be your child's superpower coach. So what we can think about when we look at these steps is, how did a potential superhero develop their abilities, like learning how to fly or see through rocks, or whatever that superhero does, run super fast, all of those things. We have to think about how that development came and use the learning that your child is already good at. They learn to do their superpower to learn other things too. So we want to pay attention to all of that in this process. All right, so step number 1 to identify your child's superpower is to observe how your child chooses to use their free time. And the bonus tip about this is you should record video of your child without you involved in their world doing their superpower. And if you don't know what their superpower is, because you're still trying to identify what it is, you want to record video of them filling their free time. You want to film them and watch what they're doing, or watch from the other room if they're in the other room. Just watch and observe, okay? That's the first step, and record it if you can. And what you need to do is you need to ask yourself these questions. Question A that you're going to ask your child is, what can you physically see them going for first? What do they go to grab? What object, okay? Now, these superpowers are not including video on phones. Navigating through videos may be a talent that your child has, and that is something to think about. But if they're going for technology, what on the technology are they going for? You have to know where the interest is. What has sparked their interest? What has caused them to want to seek out this opportunity? Because kids always they're obsessed with their superpowers. They want to do them over and over again. So what does your child go to first? Question B is, what do they want to do again and again and again and again? If you might have offered something or something that they've done before, what do they want to do over and over again? Question C, what do you have to stop them from doing a lot? If you feel like your child's doing something that's either annoying or obsessive or whatever, and you've got to go and you feel like you've got to interrupt them to go to bed or go eat or go take a bath or go do something else, that they're just so stuck in that thing that you have to physically help them transition out of it. Notice what that is. That's C. And then question D is your child interested in sharing their superpower with other people? You want to know that, because it's going to be important. If your child doesn't want to share it with you, you have to work on facilitating that in follow-up steps. So you got to know at the beginning, is your child an isolated superpower practicer, or are they interested in sharing their superpower with the world, which is what you want, by the way. All right, and then question E is, ask other people to tell you about what they see your child doing, what they think your child's superpowers are. That's what you want to do right away while you're doing your analysis, is ask other people to observe your child, okay? All right, and then the last question for step 1 is, look for patterns. What patterns do you see coming from the sensory systems? Which sensory systems does your child go to more often? Are they touching things? Are they looking at things? Are they listening to things? What is the sensory system that your child is using to do these activities? Because that's going to give you lots of clues about how they learned it, okay? So those were the first questions you ask yourself for step 1. And then we move into step number 2, where you are going to do the exact same activity, attempt anyway, to try to duplicate your child's superpower yourself, okay? Using even the same materials that your child used when they did it. So if your child likes looking at videos and navigating through, you want to see it. If your child likes watching ceiling fans, if your child likes eating certain foods or building with trains or blocks or whatever they're doing, listening to music, listening to videos, you want to do the same thing. Listen to it, dig in, and experience it completely for yourself, okay? There's some directions with step 2. Direction number 1 is that you need to be fully present in experiencing that activity in the same way that your child did. That's how you're going to know their perspective for the activity, okay? Be fully present and pretend you are your child, okay? How is my child? How are they seeing? How are they hearing? How are they feeling? What are they experiencing? You'll know because you're experiencing the exact same thing. What are you experiencing, okay? And then you want to identify the skills that you're using to complete that thing. Do you have to read? Do you have to look? Do you have to listen? Do you have to try hard at one thing or another? Maybe you don't because this thing's easy for you, but maybe it's challenging. And like Ben has perfect pitch. And if you have to do like what he's doing, play a song by ear, think about what you have to be able to do that, right? All right. And then question or idea C about this step is to notice what is easy for you and what is challenging. Is that task super easy? What about it is easy? What about it is challenging? Does your child have excellent balance? Like, this is how you're going to identify. Wow, he's got to have some pretty good balance or strength or dexterity or memory or whatever to be able to do this thing. And you'll notice if it's that thing's easy for you or challenging for you. And you'll see where your child has had to struggle to learn things, okay? Now, the next one is to analyze how you feel while you're in this experience. How are you feeling while you're doing this activity? So you know, what could your child be feeling, okay? They might not be feeling the same way you are because they might not react to the impulse or input from the activity in a different way. For example, if you're playing music and you don't like that music, but your child does, then your feelings about that activity are going to be different, but you should still notice them because you also notice how your child feels when they're doing that activity. And we're going to get to that one next. But the last one is to notice if your child is interested in you doing the activity. So if you just parallel play with your child and do the same thing that they're doing, do they notice you? Are they interested in joining you? Do they care at all that you are doing that thing? You have to notice, because that's going to help you know if they are interested in sharing their superpower with you. All right. So that was step 1 and step 2 so far. All right, let's move into step 3, where you are going to identify the why, okay? Why did your child develop this superpower? Why are they obsessed with it, okay? Now, the trick for this is that you're going to watch your recording after you've recorded your child and you have done that same activity yourself. Now you're going to go back again and either watch that recording or watch your child again after you have done that experience yourself. And you're going to look for patterns to narrow down which things that your child is doing are actually superpowers, or which things are just experimentation, STEM behaviors for regulation, or other kinds of everyday communication behaviors versus superpowers, like where your child is serious about developing. Remember, obsessive development, because we have to figure out why your child wants to do that thing, and it's going to be helpful for you to understand how to separate true superpowers from regulation behaviors or communication behaviors, because they can be pretty obsessive depending on your child's needs. All right, so what you need to do is you have just these 3 questions. Number A, we're going to go back in letters with these. A is, what happens right before your child shows their superpowers? What are the triggers that get them to want to do it? Okay, now that's what you have to know. And then the next thing is, what benefit is your child getting? This is B. What benefit does your child get? Are they, is it fulfilling a need, a sensory need? Are they doing it because they're hungry? Are they doing it to get what they want, like a communication behavior? Or are they doing it for pure entertainment and just because they want to, because they're doing it? Or are they trying to better their skills? Like last week they built with tower, 2 blocks on a tower, and now they're building with 10 blocks on a tower. Are they just using, is it like a hobby for them, something they want to do? Or is it something they have to do and they must actually? So that's where you want to know the why behind this superpower, because superpowers are the things your kids choose to do when they need them. They use them as their tools, and they also use them when they are just entertaining themselves, because doing your superpower and being successful at whatever you're good at that makes you feel good, even if it's hard work and you work hard at it. Just like that's why athletes love to work out, because even though it's hard work, they know that it's helping them with their superpower. So you'll see as you're doing it. Now, we talked about what benefit is your child getting, and then the last one is that how does your child feel while they are showing their ability? And that's what we talked about before. If your child is struggling through this skill because it's challenging for them and you see them wanting to work hard at it, then that could be a superpower. But if you see your child struggling through a skill because they feel like they've got to impress somebody or pass a test or do something and they're stressing about it, then that's not a superpower. That's just hard work, okay? And something that your child is trying hard to struggle through. Superpowers come easy for your child, and you want to understand, why does your child do these obsessive things that are coming easy to them? All right, now we're moving into step number 4, where you're actually going to start to get something done toward taking action with these superpowers. And step number 4 is to plan your strategy, your coaching strategy, because we know these obsessive behaviors that your child is doing, they'll always be better when they're coached into using the right way for functional things that a child needs, the tools they need, or that they want to help them feel better and feel good in their hobby. They're choosing to use these abilities because they're good at them. It's their toolbox. That's what they have handy, okay? And you want to coach your child to use their abilities to maximize their functional skills, their functional life, right? To help make their life better and not problematic. So that's where coaching comes in, okay? And so step number 4 is where you're going to be planning your coaching strategy. And so what you're going to do is you're going to ask your child these following questions. Question A, what does it take for your child to be regulated and feeling in the zone of acceptance for you to even present this superpower or anything new to them? Do you know what it takes to regulate your child? So you'll look at some of those other obsessive behaviors, and their why may be that they have to pace back and forth, jump on the trampoline, chew on something, hear a certain thing in order to get regulated before they can try their superpower. Okay? So superpowers don't get facilitated until a child is in their zone. That's where superpowers are developed. So you got to know what it takes to regulate your child. If you don't, you can work with your OT, you can work with a coach like me, you can work with anybody else who knows about regulation behavior, can give you the ideas you need to know to help your child be regulated, okay? So figure out what those things are first. And then number 2 in your coaching strategy, because you got to get your child regulated, is once your child is regulated, will your child watch you demonstrate a skill for them? Okay? Because that's what a coach does. They say, look, we're going to run these drills right now, or this is the lesson we're learning today, or this is how the outcome of the art project should be, right? They go through a demonstration of the skill you want your child to do. And the trick is, if your child will look at you and model you use in your demonstration, you're going to use those skills, that superpower skills, intermingled in your demonstration for whatever functional skill you're looking at right now. So if your child is really good at running and they need to run a whole lot and running is their superpower, then you're going to talk about running. Maybe running is what gets them regulated, but how are they going to improve it? How are they going to expand and evolve that skill unless they will watch somebody else doing it better than them, showing them the bar that's raised? Because kids will stay stuck in their present level of performance unless they see some motivation, and they receive some motivation to want to try something better. So to be an effective coach, your child has to want to watch you. So you use the activities that they love, you doing them, so they're going to watch to learn. So that's very important. And then the next question you have to ask is, does the training method you have chosen for your child match what you observed your child doing, because you're going to be introducing the same concepts that your child loves, but you want to use the same method that they were learning. Did they watch things over and over to memorize them? Did they practice things? Did they, however, is your child practicing their superpower? Because you're going to watch them doing things over and over and over again. You're going to learn what they're good at, and you're going to incorporate those talents into whatever you're teaching your child, okay? If they love numbers, you talk about the numbers while you're cooking. You talk about how many times you're going to run, whatever, okay? You incorporate their superpower into your lesson plan, your methodology. Does it match? If your child has a great memory, using things that they're going to remember will help you. And they're going to want to use their memory to try to remember things. Now, the next thing you have to ask yourself is, does your child want to share their superpowers with you, or do they want to protect them from you? Okay? And you'll know this as you watch your child and you try to engage with them. They will either show you what they're doing to show off or get your opinion or get your yay kind of thing, or they will push you away from their superpowers. And that happens when they feel like you're going to try to change them. No superhero wants somebody to come in and say, you can't run that fast, you have to run a different way. You can't do this way. You can't do your superpower your way, you've got to do it my way. No superhero's going to buy into that. They're like, I'm the superhero. It's my superpower. I'm going to do it however I do it. Okay, you trying to change your child's superpower and mold it into something else is not going to work with your child. And if they sense that you're trying to take their superpower away and change it, they're going to protect it. They're going to protect it. And that's when they're blocking you, right? So when you're coaching, all these things have to match. Otherwise, think about it. If you've ever had a coach that said, do it my way, this is how it's going, I don't care how you feel about it, just do it anyway, you can't buy in. You can't buy in. But when you understand, wow, that looks familiar, that's what I like to do, these are the skills that I enjoy, I'll watch you, I'll buy in, I'll even try it for myself. Because you're also, the next thing you do, you need to make sure that you let your child know that you want to know their superpowers. You want to know all about it, and you're not going to fix it. You appreciate they do it the way they do it, and you just want to see. Just show me. Just show me. Just show me. Because they like to do it over and over again. You want them to show you over and over and over again. Okay? And when they're showing you, then they can, and they're interested in getting critique from you, good job. If they don't do it accurately or they don't do it correctly, and you can elevate and show them how to do it better and coach them. Ooh, that one wasn't quite perfect. Watch me again. You don't correct your child and say, do it this way, that way, whatever, unless you're actually teaching a hardcore skill. But if it's about their superpower and you want them to learn from you other things using their superpower, you just say, ooh, maybe you missed it. Maybe you didn't quite see it or hear it or learn it the first time. Let me show you again. And then you can try again, because every time you show them, it's fun. And they want to watch and learn. That's what one of the criteria is for you to be able to do this well. So it's really, really good. Okay, now let's see. Step number 5, and then I've got some questions, so I'm definitely going to get to these questions. Number 5 is that you need to highlight the superpowers in every activity you do every day. Not just the things you're trying to get your child to learn from you, in structured school time or speech time or whatever. You want to use these superpowers while you're doing everything. So like I said, if your child loves numbers, then you use numbers while you're getting dressed. You use numbers when you're driving in the car, when you're in the bathtub, while you're eating food, all of that stuff. You can put numbers everywhere. Numbers are involved everywhere. If your child loves water, you want to involve activities that involve water. What do you do in your household every day that has water? What doesn't involve water? Oh, these are not superpower things. You can compare back and forth, okay? So highlight the superpowers in everything you do every day. And then the next one is talk about the superpowers how they're used. Oh, specifically, if your child's really good at memorizing, you call out the superpower that they used. Wow, you memorized the whole song. You remembered when I told you yesterday that your shoes go here. Like, you call out and talk about the superpowers. You used your superpowers to make your life successful, just like this. Explain it flat out. Talk about how these superpowers are great and why they're great. All those things that you analyzed. Because when you know all about these superpowers, then you can use them to get your kid to do more things, all right? And then you want to provide a lot of encouragement throughout the training, like a coach would, and not just good job. You have to tell your child exactly what they're doing right, like a coach would. Oh, that was a perfect way you used your left foot to kick the ball in. Or I like how you pointed your toe when you were dancing that dance. Or, all of those things as an athlete would. You want to tell your child exactly what they did. I love how you put that object right in my hand. I love how you looked me in the eye when we were talking. I am so happy you are listening to me more these days. Tell your child what exactly they have done well, okay? Lots of encouragement, lots of rah, 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 just like a coach would, right? Because it's motivating to try hard when you know someone is your cheerleader and coach. Someone's behind you, helping you all the way. Remind your child that you are their coach. You're helping them through everything, okay? And don't be afraid. This one's very important, this next one. Do not be afraid to create appropriate boundaries. You don't need to have 500 footballs if your child loves football. You don't need to have a million of those things. Remind your child that your household has to exist as a functional household. And they can be upset all they want, but they can't wreck the house. There are appropriate boundaries. Every parent must draw appropriate boundaries because kids don't know and they will push them. That's what kids do. Okay? And you just celebrate every try. You don't have to wait for the succession, for the, woo, you got the basket in the basket, or you got the actual goal. The move was good. The angle was good. The try was good. Because your kid needs to be encouraged to try more and more and more every day so they improve their skills. Because otherwise, if they don't try hard to elevate things, they get stuck in the same patterns, and that's what causes problems with obsessions, okay? So hopefully these were helpful strategies for all of you to learn how to use your superpowers, so your child's superpowers. And I have some questions here. Let's get into those questions now. Whew. All right, so first one comes from Deepti, who has a 3-year-old who has a speech delay. And you have a question regarding his ability. Why does he always want more than one phone? For example, he keeps 2 phones side by side and always plays the same game at the same time with his 2 hands. Why? There's a kid who can manage 2 games at the same time, literally with 2 hands. What an interesting idea. Like, how did he get to do it? Why does he want to do that? What is he doing it for? And what is he learning from that? And is it something that he's doing to actually build his skills? Or is something he's doing maybe out of anxiety? Is he needing to have 2 phones because he's afraid one is going to be taken away? Have you had experiences in your life surrounding losing one phone or another? Have you challenged him before to play the same game and wanted to get his results from it? It all depends on the circumstances around these superpowers, these obsessive behaviors. And I love that you're looking for patterns, Deepti, but you have to realize, is this a positive pattern, or is this pattern taking you down an isolated path where the information's not being shared with anybody else? And that's when they get into obsessive isolation. And if you just continually to give your child these 2 phones and let them do that thing and not talk about it and learn what's going on, then you'll never know. You'll never know. I can't tell you because I'm not there. That's why we went through this analysis today, so you can learn about your kids and what you see. So Hey, Rob. Oh, it is nice to see you. All right, so Sarah says, hello. I hope you're doing okay. I am doing great. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Hey, by the way, if you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. If you're watching on YouTube, I have more than 300 videos here. So I'm always doing new videos every week, so make sure that you subscribe, okay? All right, so Sarah says, can you guide about about sensory challenges? My 4-year-old son destroys his toys, throwing toys behind sofas and fridge and eating a lot. All right, so that sounds like a mishmash of sensory challenges, but whenever I see a child doing aggressive things like damaging toys, that means they don't know how to play with them properly. And the only thing they know how to do, maybe your child's superpower, is throwing. And they what method is your child using to destroy all these toys? I see that he's putting things in his mouth. He's putting things behind things. He's hiding things behind things. So that's his superpower right now. You have to find out, why is he hiding things? Why is he putting things behind there, his toys? Is he embarrassed because he's broken them? Does he put them behind there after he's broken them? Maybe, are you angry because he's breaking them? What is it? What is your reaction to him breaking these toys? Have you put yourself in his position to understand why he could be? Because remember, all behavior is communication. And things, when I see patterns like taking toys and hiding them behind sofa and fridge and other things, there's a pattern, there's a reason that those things are happening. Now, when you work with me as a client, we go through your life and we determine why all these things are happening. You have to do this determination at home. I can't read your child's mind. I can't know what's going on. So you have to figure out what it is that's causing these issues. And then you're able to learn how to help your child move out of them and turn them from obsessive, isolated, I do this all by myself for my own reasons, into doing it for you. So when I see a note that a child has all these throwing things and eating a lot and doing those things, that's not an organized way to analyze what your child is doing. And you need to have that. You need to do a proper analysis of your child's behavior. You have to learn why they're doing the behavior they're doing and determine what communication is behind that, because these behaviors can be sensory behaviors if there is a real sensory issue, but they look like communication behaviors to me. That might indicate, I don't know what to do with my toys. I'm breaking them and hiding them because somebody has reacted to that in the past and they gave me attention and focused on me instead of, or if you're just giving your child toys and not explaining how to play with them, showing them how to do that using their superpowers. If your child isn't able to regulate themselves with a toy so that they're tearing it up, then don't let them have toys on their own. You have to teach your child how to play with the toys that you give them. Model it first, demonstrate the behavior first. Otherwise, they're not going to know. They're not going to know. And if they have trashed every toy you've given them, that's what they know. They know, when I get a toy, I just bang it and whack it around and throw it around enough. And then when it's done, I stuff it behind the sofa and wait for my mom to give me something new to break. That could be the pattern that your child is in. And that could be a superpower, because it's how talented your child is at destroying toys. It might not be the thing that you want, these superpowers that you see in parents, because if you don't know why they're happening and you don't get to the bottom of meeting the child's need, they're just going to keep doing it. They're just going to keep doing it. And these late talkers are smart. Just because they're nonverbal does not mean that they don't understand what's going on around them. They might not understand all the language, but they see. They see the same patterns that you are seeing, and that's why they develop their nonverbal communication systems that they use with these behaviors. But using your child's superpower Superpower is all about finding the ones that they love, not because it meets their need to regulate themselves, but after they get regulated. And if your child is not regulated, it can be challenging to find their superpower because they're going to be obsessed with trying to get themselves regulated first. And that's how you have to handle it. It is my mission to help parents everywhere teach your kids how to talk naturally and faster than therapy during your everyday activities. It can happen in 2 to 3 hours a day that even parents who are working full-time from home with kids who are distance learning can get in, because you do spend that time with your kids, and language facilitation happens everywhere, and parents are the best at facilitating language. All right. Thank you so much for joining me again today. You can learn how to work with me on my website, wavesofcommunication.com, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye for now. Thanks for listening in today. And remember, there are tons of resources across my Waves of Communication platform to help you get started today on your language facilitation journey. There's more than 200 free videos on YouTube, a daily blog in my group on Facebook, my book, If It Isn't Fun, It Isn't Fun. Teach Your Child to Talk Faster Than Speech Therapy is available on Amazon and Audible, and my coaching programs. And all the details are on my website at wavesofcommunication.com.